So today, one of the biggest things I want to talk about is the advantages and disadvantages of social media. Being a social media class, I feel like this is one of the biggest topics we all need to be informed about. And one of the biggest things I want to give you is an image in your head. So, say that you went out and you had some drinks, maybe a little bit too much than you expected, and you made a decision that you didn't want nobody to see. And next thing you know, someone in the crowd, because in today's day and age, everyone has a phone and everyone's recording everything, records you of doing an act that you wish that was never seen. But now it's all over social media. It could be going viral. All your friends see it. It could be on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, and eventually it gets back to your boss. And one of the biggest things I want to mention is that social media can have a lot of benefits, but a lot of negatives associated with social media. And say this video gets back to your boss that you want no one else to see, and it can eventually lead you to be getting terminated from your job. And that's one of the biggest things in today's day and age that happens more often than you think. And the social media, it's so powerful. Even before we, go to colleges, we make sure, or job offers, we make sure that our social media is clean because a lot of people look at your social media to determine whether or not your character is good enough for their company or their school. So having a clean social media is probably one of the biggest things that I would have to say is the most important because social media is your reputation. That's what people know. Whenever you get to meet somebody, whether it be online or in person, one of the biggest things they'll ask is, hey, what's your social media? What's your Instagram? And they kind of get a feel of what you do. And if you post in like drinking and doing all this bad stuff that you don't want people to see, it's going to have a bad reputation on your name. So essentially, your social media is your brand. As we mentioned in this class before, it's your brand. And what you do with that could either be beneficial or negative. So the biggest thing I want to stress is having a good social media because that's one of the biggest things that everyone looks at. And by today's day and age, like people hire and fire people due to their social media posts. And if you have a clean social media, it has a good reputation for you, and it shows that you have a good self-image and that you're caring and respectful of yourself. Because you wouldn't want someone posting a bunch of stuff online that you wouldn't want everyone else to see. And that's why, especially being a football player, there's always eyes on me. So being on a social media is one of the biggest things that our coaches stress because, say, if you wanted to get drafted. They come in and they find everything. We've had people come and talk to us about social media and how the draft process works. And whenever anyone is eligible to go to NFL, they hire companies to look at all social media and they flag everything that comes up that is a questionable about your character. So I think this is so important to stress about how social media can sway your life potentially in good or bad ways. And that being said, social media can also be very beneficial, being able to outreach to a majority of people, and that's how a lot of businesses get started. So social media, like being on Instagram, a lot of companies start through Instagram, and it's very easy to spread the word. And I feel like that's one of the biggest things that social media can do is spread the word, whether that be negative, which can be negative or good things. So, especially with Sandy relief, one of the biggest things that I remember seeing is a bunch of people spreading the word on social media of how to, get to know loved ones that are lost or help whatever you can do to help the cause. Especially with this this storm happening that happened in Texas. I remember J.J. Watt actually posted. He actually raised I think $19 million for the state of Texas for this. Storm relief, and that was all through social media. Everyone looked at his Instagram and they saw hey, he's matching donations and this is what you can do to help, and he was a big influence on people, and that was strictly through social media. So it shows that with social media you can get a big group of people to do big things, and if social media is used right, you'll be able to successfully get the word out, and it could bring people together, and it could be used very, very efficiently. While that being said, it could also be used very bad. Like before I said that getting fired due to social media, this is actually something that occurs very, very often. And it's kind of sad because social media is your lifeline, and it's your representation of yourself. So if you want to be represented well, make sure you do it good through social media, because everyone's watching, believe it or not. Anybody can look at your stuff, so make sure that you post great content and make sure that everything is clean, and only post stuff that you would want everyone else to see.